Tesla's scratching their head why Model S and X sales are down. I'm like, you guys are idiots. You just cannibalize your own tech with a $40,000 car that people wanted to drive electric. Now there's a $40,000 car. They don't need to spend 80 grand. Of course, your 80 grand cars are getting hit.
Here, we're starting to see a lot more chatter about the Model Y. You had said some things offline before we hit record about production for summertime, so I definitely want to touch on that. But this is something that's really, really exciting, and I think that in addition to that, the fact that Giga Germany, they're going to start off with Model Y production. That is really interesting to me, and they're planning on being at production, if I recall, in 2021 for Giga Germany. So, compiling all this stuff together, like what are some of your impressions since the last time we talked about a month and a half ago?
Yeah, so I've been getting tips from viewers and stuff that have been talking to Tesla employees that say the Model Y is like starting, they want to do a handful of deliveries by the end of this year. Obviously, I don't even fully believe that, but that sort of lines up with all these puzzle pieces I've been seeing of like Model Y is coming a lot earlier than people realize, like very soon. Clean Technica had a big report 4 months ago, like a big leak that said it was going to ramp production Q1. Then Tesla moved it up to summer 2020. And then I was thinking on the conference call, I was like, wait, I think Elon said, correct me if I'm wrong, but they wanted to get to like 1,000 a week by summer 2020, which means they should be starting, months before that. Remember Model 3, it takes a while for this to ramp. So I think Model Y is around the corner. And as much as we're pumped about Cybertruck, like this is a real move the needle financial product for Tesla. That is about to hit. And so I think we're lining up. We heard Elon on the conference call say Q1 2020 would suck. Q2 would be a little better. Q3, Q4 would be awesome. Why? Because they're going to say that the Model Y is starting production and getting ready in a month or two, and then that's going to kill Model 3 sales for a little bit because everyone's going to be waiting for Model Y. It's going to be a little bit of cannibalization. That'll hit in Q1, and then in Q2 maybe lingering. And then once they get Model Y in full force, China full force, Plaid mode Model S and X, the next half of 2020 is sort of this explosion. But anyway, to answer your question, I think all the clues I've been seeing seems to say that Model Y is coming like much sooner than sort of the market consensus.
Yeah, I think personally, for me, the next car that I buy will be a Model Y. For very practical reasons, here in Colorado, we had like 18 inches of snow last week, and it would have been nice to have that ground clearance. Fortunately, I didn't have any issues, but the extra ground clearance is nice, especially when you're in sort of a mountainous state that does get snow. And I just think in terms of what it offers, it's quite spectacular. Now, ask me in 6 months, and maybe Tesla comes out with a new S or X, I might change my mind. But at the moment, this seems to be the most convincing vehicle for me. Contrary to what people would love, I'm not getting a Cybertruck. It's not. Yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. I'm sorry, everyone. Please don't unsubscribe from my channel. Anyway, so I think it's really, really promising, and I think it's the next sort of natural upstep for Tesla to start producing this vehicle. It makes a lot of sense for Europe. It makes a lot of sense for North America. It's the right size for a lot of markets outside of North America, which I think is really, really exciting. So I'm excited. I think it's going to have a really nice push on Tesla's bottom line.
So to play devil's advocate, one thing Elon mentioned that he's not worried about is cannibalization, almost defensively, which I think secretly means he is worried about it.
I don't believe him when he says that, by the way.
Yeah. So that to me is one thing where Tesla could kind of hiccup, or when I think about like what could go wrong in the near term for Tesla, they don't think about cannibalization for the Model Y correctly. That hurts Model 3 sales more than expected. And these production lines need to be running like the higher capacity. Like you only need to take away a slight amount of capacity, then you're spreading, all this profit over much more fixed costs. And so it's less profitable. So my point is if they Model Y sales impact Model 3 sales more than expected, that could sort of hit Model 3 margin and profitability in the near term. So I don't know. That's kind of one thing I'm watching and very curious about, is because I think a lot of people misread. And into the Cybertruck, this is the biggest point I think when you think about the automotive market, how to analyze demand for these products, just because the CUV segment is big, the sedan segment is big, the pickup segment is this, like that's looking in the rearview mirror, not based on what's available in the market today. I think people get boxed into looking at that, and that's why they struggle to understand why Tesla's vehicles sell the way they do. I think people want electric cars. Tesla's scratching their head why Model S and X sales are down. I'm like, you guys are idiots. You just cannibalize your own tech with a $40,000 car that people wanted to drive electric. Now there's a $40,000 car. They don't need to spend 80 grand. Of course, your 80 grand cars are getting hit. And my dad wanted a Model Y, but he got a Model 3 because the Model Y didn't exist, but he just wanted the Tesla and electric. So I think that's a dynamic that I'm watching very closely. And just, I don't think it's like going to be a huge, hiccup or a bad thing for Tesla, but I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.